Let me get a better headset. All right, let me get this thing popping for a few minutes. So let y'all come in. So here's the deal, man. And shout out, I'm gonna have this conversation with Obsidian. And some stuff is it really is because I got some stuff and I think it's really gonna coincide with creating a very good video. So definitely check that out tomorrow. That's gonna be at 6 o'clock. What's up, Jim Rat? But I want to have a quick conversation about game. I think, and I'm gonna say this, I think game is literally one of the most biggest issues that black men have as a collective group. Follow me for a second. All right, good. Got that New York pizza or New York style, the closest thing we gonna get in this motherfucker. But anyway, one of the things that's like a really big pet peeve. I like to use like say things kind of so people don't. I'm gonna say this: is the way black men approach game is how putting a hair hat on her head as Tommy Sotomayor. It's the same thing, and all the money to be something that they're not, rather than doing the things that they need to do. Also, the comparison I want to make with black men in particular is how, just like how when you talk about conspiracy theories and you talk about conspiracy theories with black men, you talk about celebrity shit because black men have a deep seated belief that success kill their child or sacrifice their soul in order to have it because their definition is success is celebrity because attention is a big part of success. A lot of black men don't identify success if it doesn't have attention that comes along with it. Appreciate it, Sam. I am. Look at black men in particular, and you look at niggas fucking fat bitches, which I don't care. I really don't. But my thing is when you have a culture that you are glorifying women that weigh more than you, because that's exactly what it is. And I was thinking about that when I was listening to Kevin Samuels' video. And then when you look at how black women didn't always weigh that way like that, since people want to cap or front, you look at certain behavioral patterns that black men, exhibit as a group. Now, sure, it's some parts of the sector or the group that does it more than others, but you see this way too pervasive, and that's one part. And then you see certain things they choose to focus on at the expense of others, and you really realize a lot of the very dudes that like to talk about what black people need to do are some of the very dudes that on the other side of the door. It's like a revolving door. It's like a conveyor belt that goes around and around but doesn't go anywhere. On the one hand, people are talking about what the community needs to do. On the other hand, they can't really let certain shit go or completely disavow certain things. And I gotta really say this. Y'all may hear this a certain type of way, but follow me. White people can listen to hip hop music, and I would argue a lot of non-blacks can, and most people agree with this, can listen to hip hop music and they can leave it as that music. They can listen to some of this drill music, all that other stuff, but at the end of the day, they have a culture. So they are very identified with. I'm not saying we don't have a culture, but they have a culture. And so they don't allow, for the most part, music to rewrite the culture. Now, obviously, if you get in the second and third generation, that can be different because now they grew up in this stuff. But I'm talking about people that can make clear comparisons. And for the most part, a lot of Caucasians can listen to our music and may not be rewritten by it. Black people, because black people have not been given a strong sense of culture that they have, because parents failed, the black church failed, because the bodies that are supposed to do this failed. Oh shit, I'm supposed to do something. Failed, right? They failed. There's no way to cover it. They failed. They failed. And this is not me blaming older black men. This is not me doing any of that. I'm just saying what it is. And I'm not really, the body of parenthood, the body of all that, they failed. Hold on one second. Do. I'm dealing. Boy, y'all should be hearing me. I need to do a video recording of myself when I'm doing the Mortal Kombat, the tournament seasons. I be getting that Shao Kahn, and them motherfuckers be getting real mad. I know this is like random as hell, but they be getting real mad because I got my name at Outworld's Trump, and they be really trying to fight me, but I be taking that hammer and I be whooping their ass. And yo, they be getting so fucking mad when I fucking come back and get them in that corner, and I start beating their ass with that hammer. Like for real, it's funny. Whooping people's ass in Mortal Kombat is very enjoyable. It really is. I'm not gonna lie. But I do be getting my ass beat sometimes too. I ain't gonna front. But anyway, all right. What up, Santo Domingo? There's some call centers in Santo Domingo. I've been in Santo Domingo before. Call center life. Call center management life. Be like, what you my why you anyway. All right. So my thing is game talk. Number one, most black men know what game is. Game is not calculus. Okay, game we'll say is algebra. Now, obviously, there's levels to game, but it's like this idea that you can go through high school and not take. I mean, most people go vast. Only a few people take calculus in high school, and I didn't take calculus in high school. I said fuck that. I wasn't gonna work that hard my senior year. But game is not this thing to. It's not the force, yo. It's not this thing where either you got it or you don't, and people just don't understand the concept of it. That's not what it is. And so when I hear dudes talk about game, I hate when dudes try to explain it. Like, motherfucker, I know. Stop explaining it like I'm like from Eastern Europe or some shit. Like I speak Russian, where the words are like you speak. No, shut the fuck up. We grew up. I grew up with you. We know what the fuck it is. So this thing where people try to let me adjust my chair down to your level so I can explain to you the game. Give you nigga, shut the fuck up. You were not. This is not no PhD. And I'm not gonna say some people know more than others, but niggas will give you a game for dummies explainer. Like you explaining game is like me explaining to you what commercial real estate is, some shit I know you don't know. And I'm talking about just in general. Like me explaining to you, like even with affiliate marketing, most of y'all know affiliate marketing is you selling other people's shit. You get a commission. Now we can go into hows and stuff like that, but y'all understand that basic. And it's like me having to explain that like people are stupid. And it allows people to try to be intelligent. And this is another thing that pisses me off. A lot of these niggas that talk the most about game, and this is not true for everybody. Shout out to Alan Roger Curry because the voice inflection, all of that. I get all of that. But of most of the dudes that are really talking about games, especially dudes that are not actually selling it, but a lot of dudes that actually sell it, the truth is they can't ever remove pre-qualification from it. There's a reason you ain't got short niggas out here selling game products. Because a lot of these dudes, they're mistaking pre-qualification for game. Not fucking it up is not game. Like, let me teach you how when she want to fuck you anyway to not say something stupid to lose her. That's not game. Okay? That's not fucking game. And so my thing is, you got folks that they present. See, here's the thing: they'll talk about passport dudes and shit like that, and they'll throw this shit saying, "Well, passport dudes say this and say that." That's not true. There's dusty shit, just like how there's dusty niggas when it comes to the game. There's dusty niggas when it comes to passport. There are different levels. I can show you Jabril at the highest level. I can show you some dusty niggas going from NY to DR just because the flights are cheap at the lowest. There's love, just like I can show you. There's dudes that they went in the military. They do military contracts. They're electricians. They get paid a hell of a lot more to do electrical work in like Afghanistan or areas that may be more violent or stuff like that. And they get paid a lot of money. And they create a lifestyle out of it. Living in Europe, living in Germany. They kids that grew up with that. I've seen that. A world that a lot of you niggas don't even. Most of you don't see. Because you got to be in it to be in it. And so another thing that annoys me is when niggas try to say game is everything. No, it fucking isn't. Okay? No, it isn't. That's you taking your nigga culture and applying it to shit where it shouldn't apply. And yeah, I'm going to say it just like that on my David Carroll shit. Trying to export the street shit. Game is just knowledge. I know even Glenn and Cameron says game is strategy. I understand that and I respect them, but we gotta divorce the word game. Like, I'll give you a perfect example. The very niggas that will talk about game to talk a broken bitch out of her draws, right? Because that's what it is. That's why that shit can't be exported to different types of women. Because it requires a certain type of woman that has a certain type of amount of issues. This is why they bitch about their outcomes. This is why the same women that hate you are the same women that's fucking you. You don't see nothing wrong with that. But the same niggas, they can't go into, as David Carroll would say, a cigar lounge with him smoking them sticks. You can't go in that motherfucker and talk them out of some money to invest in a project or something you doing. You can't go in there and forge relationships. A lot of, you notice, niggas that talk the most about game, Tariq Nasheed and Jason Black, them included, be the same niggas that talk the most shit about other niggas. You notice that a lot of these dudes that talk the most about game, and these are some dudes I fuck with, be the same niggas that they love, they like, I'm talking about in business, they gotta be around women all the time. And when I say all the time, I'm talking about like it's like they can only work with women. They can't work with other men. And here's the problem. Every group that's beating your ass when it comes to economics and wealth building, they understand how to work with their men. Men know how to team up. Humans evolved in working in packs. And I'm talking about the men did. In knowing how to be individuals, but knowing how to come together, the science behind that. Black men don't understand that. And I get why. There's been people that go into the history about when we do come together, there's violence that's involved and how that's kind of been reinforced. Tariq has talked about that, like even going in the 70s. He's gone really in detail, really giving a lot of insight into like pre-80s as to how this stuff started and how this stuff has kind of come about. So I'll give him credit. But my point is, all these beefs in the manosphere, all this necessary bullshit, this ego shit, you don't really see that shit to that extent in the passport sector. Not like that. And so my thing is, we like to call ourselves thinking black men here, but black people got to stop worshiping their religions. Oh, nigga, you don't understand game. You don't understand. Nigga, shut the fuck up. That's like somebody in the church telling me I'm calling out the black church and the fuckery there, and y'all just tell me I don't understand. Not knowing what I know in insight when it comes to a lot of these black churches. My point is, we get so locked in a culture that we like to call everything game. Everything is not game. And if you look at the results if you look at the results that black men have, like take the Black Brain Trust, for example, very successful guys. These like Ulysses, Mike V. Ulysses knows what game is. But Ulysses doesn't use that language to describe his motor business, his micro motor business, or to describe his CBD business. Mike V does. They don't use that language. Now another dude be like, yeah, man, that's some marijuana game right there. That's a micro machine game right there. You know, I you know, Snoop Dogg talks about game, right? But where was his game when his tall ass was looking like a little boy at a kiddie table on some four brother shit, you know, talking to fucking nah man, they got these that's one thing about the spring, man. These fucking bugs. I'm not getting stung a bit. With Jada Pinkett. Where was the game then? Where was the game where was the game that got Ice Cube to just magic? Like, Ice Cube is not a dumb dude. Ice Cube has been married for X amount of time. Ice Cube has made a lot of money for himself. He's definitely made money talking about black culture. Yeah, 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 nigga. This is my my like office. I just throw shit. I don't give a fuck. My office. Y'all get the insight peek. What I like about this thing, and I've designed it the way I designed it because I can interchange anything at any given time. Like, and obviously I work sometimes. And I'll sleep where I work, but I can literally take all this shit down and write this if I need to make videos, and then my whiteboard and stuff. Very interchangeable. And I'm not anti-gang, but what I am is I'm anti-black men putting themselves in these small little boxes of thought. That's what I'm anti. Like the dudes that like to talk about everything is game, they don't live their life that way. They really don't. And there's a reason there's a certain type of black person that really is on that shit like that. And there's a reason why the most successful black, there's a reason. Or what it is there's a reason. And dudes never think about that. And if talk about game all the time, be the very niggas that got some conspiracy theory when it comes to why somebody's making money in business. To the top. Think about it. Think of how many, even YouTube, there's a science and an art to YouTube. But you ain't look here and this, yeah, that's the YouTube game. Da-da. No, because that's some shit that, like, when I don't know, insert game. When in doubt, insert game, and it'll make you seem smarter than what you are. And it's black men, a lot of niggas, and I'm not saying this is everybody, into how people like really, get on it. Some people are like Glendon, or they'll even be like O'Shea. They know what game is, but they know how to operate in and out of it. But most black men don't. So my thing is, when you use the word game, you really trigger a certain psychological domino effect in most black men that really turns black men. It really, I'm gonna keep it real with you. When you use game, you like every time game is talked about in the manosphere, the IQ falls. I can see, I can hear, I can feel it. I, Whenever you talk about the black church and whenever you talk about game, the IQ in black men drops. It literally falls. It literally falls. And people will say, "Oh, well, you anti-game. You this like it's stupid. It literally like fucking idiots." Like even when it comes to dealing with women, dealing with relationships, I call it social. I call it what the word is: social skills. And sure, I'm all for social skills. Shout out to charisma and command. Shout out. There's a lot of shit. But when it comes to selling products and services, and the quote unquote game behind that or the ability to do that, these niggas don't know what to do. Selling drugs don't count because that sells itself. These niggas don't know what to do because these niggas don't, because all that game shit that should be transferable, like they say, they don't know. Because the truth is, that's some shit for them to make them seem like they're better than somebody else. So let's talk about Derrick Jackson real quick. Let's talk about Derrick Jackson real quick. Um, so let me say this one thing about dudes that do passports. Here's some things that I think are is not true that's said in the manosphere. Number one, Black men in travel, that's not all they do. This narrative of black men are just not fucking with women in the United States and then all they're doing is traveling, that's actually a lie. That's not true. People, black men, if you look at the black men, and that's not what's being promoted either. That's not what's being promoted. What's being promoted is to get your money up, get your weight up, so you can deal with the world from a global perspective, so you're not subject to the nigga perspectives that's in your city, in your county, in the United States. And that goes beyond just women. And by the way, plenty of people will talk about these. It's interesting because Pan Africanists do this same thing, except Pan Africanists, a lot of times, they want to do it from a female perspective. So this idea that niggas that travel are running away, that's a lie. That's not true. That's not promoted. And there's a reason why we never have debates. You never hear debates about this. Because when we actually get into the details, what you find there's not a lot there. A lot of these dudes just got opinions and that's all they got. Most dudes started traveling either because they were in the military or because they were in corporate America. That's a fact. I started traveling because I was in corporate America. That's why. Now I was looking at, oh man, it'd be nice to go here, go there. But what actually got me over there was when I was in Asia first. That's it. So when people talk about why niggas go, now when you look at the Dominican Republic, in which Charles Tyler always low key frowned upon because he said it was too used to the United States, and this is where a lot of these dudes talk that shit. It's from the DR. The DR shouldn't even really count as traveling. The DR should be considered like Puerto Rico. It shouldn't even count. But you dealing with a lot of New Yorkers that what they do is they have cheap flights, so they're going on cheap vacations. And quite frankly, I'd rather them niggas do that and get a little bit of culture and experience than necessarily buying shoes and Xboxes all day, every day. But we can't have that conversation because niggas want to fall into the religion of game. It's like on some Sunni and Shia shit. Shout out to Black Mind. It's like people have this religion and then you want to push this religion on somebody else. And if you're like Xanatos Clutch or you're doing like this or somebody else that you want to, this is a way to try to enforce making black men deal with the black culture. And you notice that black men just can't let shit rock. They gotta, and this is what makes them gynocentric. Remember what I said. We always have to look at how we invest in the very things we talk against. And this is one of the ways that black men invest against. Yeah. Now I've been told behind the scenes why certain things that give me insight on why people do what they do. But first of all, I'd rather niggas just come out and say it and stop fucking bullshitting, number one. Because then we'll open that door and we'll get to the real heart of the shit. But it's bullshit. Because the thing about, oh well, people went to certain places and they didn't have bad experiences, but just the dudes that were down there, it just didn't work out. And then people are taking that and like broadcasting that with a whole industry. That's fucking stupid. And anybody would say that's stupid any other metric. Now, getting back to now jumping on Derek Jackson for a second when it comes to this, because really what triggered this, O'Shea did a video and he was talking about, Derek Jackson has no game, and that I understand. And I'm not saying I don't agree with that, but my thing is Derek Jackson's not in the situation he is because he has no game. There is no amount of game that can manage that shit. When dudes try to go the brother polite route, whenever they decide to leave that, what do they do? Whenever they decide to lead that, what do? They sit there and talk about how they was manipulated, how they was tricked, how they were emotionally and psychologically abused in order to stay in that situation. That is game that these women are talking about. Low key. You got Alpha Male Strategies. I don't think he stands on this as much as now, but Alpha Male Strategies used to say, lie to these bitches. You got Alan Roger Curry saying, tell the truth to their face. And even people admitted that if you, look, I do believe in being mode one, even if you're not a quote unquote select guy to that woman. In fact, mode one is important. Mode one is more important if you're not select than if you are select. Because if you're a select guy, then you're not going to spend as much money. You're not going to be taxed as much as if you're a non-select guy. So your job is to be mode one in order to filter out the people that don't want you. That's so when people say, well, you gotta look good to be mode one for it to work. The point of mode one was never, ever, ever to necessarily increase your outcomes, your positive outcomes. It was designed to filter out the people that would otherwise waste your time to use the possibility of sex to extract time and resources from you. This is why the possibility of sex came after mode one, because it gave an insight as to what dudes have a danger for. I thought that shit was common sense, but apparently it's not. But my point is, it's all called game. Game means nothing and it means everything to black men. And so game is presented as this one size fits all. Everything that's positive, it's because of game. Everything that's negative, it's because of lack of game. We are the only race, we are only ethnic group that does that. We are the only ethnic group that does that. And you need to ask yourself why that is and how that makes sense. Yeah, Fast Attack, the original dudes were the dudes that were in the Navy and in the military. Those are the dudes that used to tell the stories to everybody else. I remember hearing older dudes talk about their experiences in Europe, all of that. And it's not even about the women, it's just about everything. That's just a part of it. And so when people try to say, well, it don't matter, you running away from the United States, do you not understand that the biggest reason why I promote traveling is because it inspires these guys to want to actually live life? Being in the United States, if you had black men. Think about it. Think about it for a second. You got niggas that are killing other niggas, black men that are killing other black men in the hip hop community. These younger dudes, they're regressing back to as soon as you had Ludacris, even 50 Cent, and all of these rappers start to really create businesses and economics for themselves. Here's one thing I want you to think about. 50 Cent, Curtis Jackson has a couple of exotic, I think at least one exotic baby mama. Ludacris is with a black woman, but Ludacris just got his citizenship in one country in Africa. If you look at a lot, I'm not gonna say all these dudes, but a lot of these dudes has got businesses and really got their stuff together. I'm not necessarily saying it's all because of overseas, but you notice they tend to have a bigger perspective than just the United States. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that their entire shit is built around overseas. It's usually not. But the thing is, they're thinking better. They have a reason to live life versus the generation that came before them or the hip hop generation that came preceded them. That was the East. A lot of that was East Coast, West Coast worse shit. They were living. I don't see myself living till I'm 30 or 25 or prison. It's because they can't see anything outside of their fucking county, outside of their fucking tribe. Fuck the bitches. I'm talking, take the bitches off the table because that's the only reason why niggas are talking about game. Because it's about, oh, well, how do I need these women to love me. And I need to tell other black women, these niggas love me. You even see with Umar. I look down to the queen. You look up to the queen. But everything, the common denominator is that woman. And you know what? Yes, I know black women raise black men. But you've seen situations like Umar was not necessarily coming from a generation where they didn't have a dad. So it's more pervasive, even though it's a lot worse because women are doing that, raising single, being single mothers. That's not the only source. And that's not the only source. So you can't just lay that at the feet of black women. Black men reinforce that amongst each other. And that shit has to stop because that's a big reason why dudes come to the conclusion that I got to get away from y'all because the problem is the culture. And if getting rid of the culture means I got to get rid of what you perceive as me being black, then I'm not about to die for being black. If being black is some niggified culture. This is what Doc David Carroll talks about. That's why he doesn't deal in the sphere as much as people would like. Glendon Cameron alludes to it. A lot of dudes allude to it. It's not that they just don't want to fuck with dudes or they just mad because they got exercise from the community. That's not everybody. That's some shit that people just say. But that's not everybody. And I've always been back and forth with it, but I've always been more in the community and out of the community because I know there's different sectors of the community that I can deal in and just not deal with other sectors to the extent that I don't want to. And what kills me is press one if y'all can hear me if it's buffering. Press one if it's not buffering. And what kill, yeah, and select and non-select, dude. You can be non-select and one. Do you realize that Derek Jackson could be non-select because he's dark skinned in certain environments, but then go to others and be select because of that? That's what select and non-select means. Select and non-select doesn't mean, but that's not even my point. My point is, and that's another example of black men wanting to, like, who are you trying to impress? That's my thing. We do, yeah, man, I'm a better nigga than you. Okay. I have a better quality of life than you. How about that? You're broke. You're poor. You're trying to make yourself feel better. I'm talking about this in general. Yeah, man. I'm just using. I'm from Chicago, so I'm using an example. This is not a hit on Jap, but I'm just saying. Yeah, man. I'm from Chicago. I'm from Chicago, bruh. You know, where it gets south of 32 degrees, -10. Why don't you just go to Florida during the winter? Nigga, that's what pussies do. No, that's what people with money do. Because I know and you know niggas don't like the cold. And it ain't like these bitches are dressing the same in the cold than they dress in the spring. Why don't you got Airbnb? Why don't you fucking just for a couple of months go to, you don't gotta have a timeshare. You ain't gotta have property. You can do an Airbnb for 90 days and negotiate that shit. Why don't you do, nigga, that's some white people shit. Nigga, all I got is this game. All I need is this game. Oh, okay. All right. Well, good luck. Good luck with that. Why do you still work a 9 to 5? Nigga, you gotta do what you gotta do, motherfucker. Shit. So you can't take this game. I mean, shit. I mean, I don't think I got a mouthpiece. I maybe get quite a few $100s from y'all every month. But you got niggas like seriously. All right, I appreciate it. And the thing is, you got niggas that are literally battle rapping. I remember what I've told you all. Even when women are not in the room, we talk like women in the room. And my thing as to why this annoys me so much is game. I see things as finite. You have like the brain has so much bandwidth, right? And that's not capacity, it's bandwidth. So anything at any given time, which is different than capacity. And I look at it like a circle. Game occupies like 75% of what these niggas think. And then they don't leave room for other things that can help them grow. And everything that black men do is like built around what a bitch wants. To the point that even if they could bypass that financially, they don't want to do it. They have to have the illusion that a woman wants them for them, even if that illusion is false. And dudes will talk about, and dudes will sit there and it's like, wow, because people really don't understand that black men are excited about something and they're trying to share something with you. But and most of the passport bros, the passport bros are not selling nothing to you. They're not sitting here saying you got to go to my Patreon in order to see these good looking chicks. They're not telling you you need to buy my book. They give everything for free because they want to help their brother, and how they are received is you a pervert. You just ran away from the United States. Even though it takes real economics, even if you don't want to leave the United States, it takes real economics for your money to be able to travel with you like that. And I gotta tell you, that's some of the most ignorant things. That's some of the ignorant plantation shit I've ever heard, to tell somebody they just ran from the United States. Like that. I'm really like, seriously. That is some plantation shit. And the funny thing is, I've seen that. I've seen that thrown at people that are known that didn't happen. I've seen people throw rumor like with O'Shea. I've seen people try to put rumors out there that oh yeah, O'Shea, and I'm talking about people that are known. Like this is something that happened behind the scenes. Oh, O'Shea, O'Shea, he's about to quit being a doctor. He failed, so he just gonna be in Uganda and do his shit. That was one of the biggest finesses O'Shea ever did, was taking a situation, turning that into a positive in Uganda and expanding his influence, going back, getting his doctorate. And I respect him for not saying f the money and actually finishing it, because I know that's important to him. But you really, so I've seen some of the very people that'll do this stuff. They get it thrown at them a little bit, and it be lies, but it don't matter because those gates have been open. And rather than coming to an understanding as to why people do what they do, because I'm not somebody that says the passport shit is perfect. I used to be one of the main ones saying, you niggas need to stop being dusty and sharing Instagram bitches. If they're not actual pictures of people on the ground, then nigga, share the shit. But don't stop doing that. And finally folks got out of that shit and they started sharing footage on the ground, pictures on the ground. So I'm not one to not criticize when critiquing is necessary. But that's not the stuff they say. You notice all them niggas that talk about the passport people, you never heard them say that. Because they're not really looking at real shit. They're just rattling off at the mouth. And you notice how dudes, they will die for the game. They will die for it. They will give their lives for nothing. Like, you want to talk about some Arabs are crazy? And then blow themselves up for a religion. Niggas will die for the game. What do you think black on black crime is? What do you think when a lot of what these in Chicago, a lot of these niggas getting shot, shooting at is usually based on the word of a female or drugs, but usually a female. They will go on send off missions for the game. And it's not about game that annoys me. It's how black men approach it that gets on my nerves. If we whenever you ask somebody to define a word, if I would have asked somebody to define the game, most of them niggas would struggle defining the game without using the actual word game. Now, yeah, they'll eventually say strategy, they'll eventually say knowledge, but usually the first 2 times or 3 times they'll try to say, well, the game is the game. The game can't be explained. You can't define a game to a lame. Like, it's these automatic psycho triggers that I'm like, motherfucker, where did you get that from? And I think, like, it's literally these hypnotic triggers that start to activate. And that has nothing to do with the game or insight or knowledge. And it's something about the word game that black men are just so in love with. And I mean, it's a word to me. It's like hip hop music. Some of it resonates with me. Like, for instance, I used to listen to Rick Ross Push It to the Limit because I liked Scarface before that. I probably seen that movie more than anything. But I can filter that through as a motivational video and take the drug shit out of it. That's why when Rick Ross was found to be working in a prison thing, I didn't get mad about it. I was like, yeah, wow, that nigga really finesse motherfuckers. But I still like the song. Niggas out here about the little nigga, that's a fake ass nigga. He one of them pigs. Fuck that nigga. You don't know what he did in the prison. He could have been hooking people up. You don't know. He didn't put him there. Yeah, like he was a cop. Or fucking Jeezy dreaming. Even though Jeezy, all he talk about snow, but I can even though that may have happened in his life, I look at all that as a metaphor. These niggas be looking at it like it's biblical doctrine. And then they start to live their life through that. And I'm not even talking about just street dudes either. I'm not just talking about street dudes. Women, they start, oh, I want to fuck that in real life. Kevin, people underestimate how much these women actually take. And the point is, you allow the media to really, and AM1 would definitely approve this message. You allow the media to literally rewrite you and raise you and educate you. And it's like you don't separate yourself from that. And this is why a lot of people accuse ADOS blacks of not having culture, because they're like, you have nothing to juxtapose that against. All you have is that. So clearly you must not have culture. And that's kind of the logic stream that they follow. You must have nothing to kind of jump out of that. And for a lot of these dudes, they don't. The game is their culture. And that's all they know. And that's sad. Because look, I could call everything game. You all have heard me. You've heard me talk about internet marketing business, so you know I have quote unquote game when it comes to that. But you never hear me use that terminology because words matter. And one of the big things about black people is black people don't believe in the power of words. We believe that words are just, it's like how words are just something to express your emotions through, and it shows in how we use the English language. The English language is not a romantic language, it's a dramatic language. So the way that we actually use it is actually incorrect. The English language is actually a very systematic language. And I'm not trying to act like I'm an English buff. I didn't take AP English because I wasn't gonna do all that fucking reading on shit I didn't want to read. But a lot of this stuff holds black men back. Like the same shit that I have niggas in a strip club tricking off massive amounts of money to just go back to the same hood that they came back from is the same niggas is gonna be talking shit about somebody going to a different country having an experience. I don't get that. Nigga, the game is a game, and if you don't love the game, blah blah. Well, I'm like, well, how can you expect these females to change if you don't have the capacity to? Like for real, if you the one that's supposed to have a logical mind, I'm talking about anybody that this is for, a logical mind, and you can't look at things from a variety of different dimensions and vectors. I mean, really look at it, not pretend you're looking at it and then just default back to what you're in. I can expect these women to do it because you definitely can't lead them to doing it. Of course, there's strategy and understanding women are dealing with women, but people don't understand. Like I said, the thing, even from the going to overseas and dealing with women, it's about not feeling the need to jump hoops for these hoes. Because we're not talking about self improvement at this point. What we're talking about is being entertaining a bitch. That's not the same thing. And going to Derrick Jackson, because I skipped over that. Derrick Jackson's issue was that he got married. I mean, Derrick Jackson has been running game on these chicks. He just got caught. That's all it is. And he got caught because he had his hand in the cookie jar too many times. I mean, think about it. Derrick Jackson was smart enough to get a female that he knew was down for him no matter what. And I do believe she probably helped write a lot of those books and shit. Derrick Jackson did pretty much the low key gigolo thing. I mean, what the fuck would Derrick Jackson be doing if he wasn't if he couldn't trade on his looks? If the internet wouldn't have went the way that it went? Like, let's be honest about that. Let me go with y'all super chats. My bad. We love the game. Speak on game marathon. Real talk. Edward. The community has a lot of slave mentality. Maurice says community has a lot of slave mentality. Marathon man says real talk. Maurice. Justin March. So niggas like dudes. It's like gossip. Game is like gossip for men. Like we need to talk about the game. Niggas can talk like 12, 13 hours about fucking game. And you know what the truth is? Niggas are talking about nothing. Let me tell you, you want to talk about some game? I just bought ClickFunnels, and ClickFunnels is $300 a month. So I'm in the free trial. All it is literally is like a university. And I make my money off giving people quote unquote insight that they otherwise don't know about how to get stuff, for less money they otherwise get. I got a mastermind that's like 5K that I got like 50 days to finish to get. I mean, total. I mean, when you look at the what I got booked, I mean, and then the sad thing is I can show you where all the free stuff is. And my point is you you can hear dudes talk about nothing for literally hours and hours when it comes to game. Game triggers something in the brains of black men that really has nothing to do with production. It is the anti. It's like nigga. I'm gonna be a geek for a second. Game is like the trigger word for the anti-life equation. where your will just gets sucked up and you get hit, you go into this hypnotic trance, and then you wake up and you like, what have I been doing for like hours? Well, nigga, you was talking about game. And you don't even remember what the fuck you were talking about. Like, for real. And for me, the fact that black men can have so much smoke about everything, but they don't understand how game actually holds a lot of black men back. Most black men that are successful are not successful, are not, you do not hear using game. Tariq Nasheed is like one of the few fucking exceptions. Jason Black is kind of one of the exceptions to the extent that he's making money. Even your rappers are not using the word game like that. Sinful of P is a little bit different because Sinful of P is a P, you know, IMP. That's different. But I'm talking about normal motherfuckers. That's what I'm talking about. Because Sinful to P would agree with me, I think, that you got dudes, because I would, and this is how I would frame it to Sinful to P. I would frame it as, do you believe that as much information that you're giving, do you believe that there's just that a lot of your audience are not going to absorb jack shit of what you said because they're so in love with the idea of game, they're not paying attention to the actual golden nuggets that you're saying, the quote unquote real game that you're laying down? You see, when I'm listening to somebody talk, I haven't annoyed Jabril, but I go with Jabril all the time. I told Jabril, I said, you need to create like a $50 or $100 continuity program with these damn live streams. I get tired of having to, you know, record your live stream because of the gems that you're dropping. And not just him, but other people. Because I'm not trying to take notes while I'm listening to a live stream. And he said he'd take that under consideration. I mean, shit, get them passport heavy videos paid for because people would do it. But my point is, a lot of dudes are so in love with the idea of game, and this is the irony, they actually don't pick up the game that's being put down. So even a guy like Sinful P, and I know this is true because Glenn and Cameron would be a lot bigger than he is if that wasn't. Same thing with Erica. They would be bigger than they are right now if that wasn't true, what I just said. This is why Kevin Samuels' audience is starting to trend a little bit less black. Because this is something Dr. Claude Anderson used to talk about, how it's easier for him to overcharge other races than it is to give his shit away from free. You know why? Because as much as motherfuckers like to talk about game, they like the idea of game versus the real application of it. Outside of maybe convincing a female to give it up. And then these will be the same niggas that later on when they got daughters, they want to feel guilty as hell. I appreciate that, no cap. And shout out to Nurse Nerd. Like I see black people that are married. You know, I understand what she was saying. When she's like, "Yeah, everybody around me married." I know people that's like that. I'm talking about black people. What time is it? We got to get out of that, man. American Negro said not true. We got to get out of that. Niggas are way too caught up in the idea of what game is, the magic of game, than they are of actually absorbing it, when knowing what good information is when they hear it and knowing how to apply it. And you notice that's another thing. What do they say about black people? They say game. They say what they say about black people. Black people don't like to read. This is why game is always verbalized because niggas don't want to read. And this is a problem. But going back to Derrick Jackson before I end this video, let me say this. Derrick Jackson's issue is a couple of things. Yes, Derrick Jackson is pre-qualified, so therefore he didn't need game necessarily to get the women that he wanted. I mean, Derrick Jackson has think about it. Derrick Jackson has whole rooms full of women ogling over him, saying what they would do to him. So dudes, people be talking. The problem with Derrick Jackson is very simple. Derrick Jackson was married. So what Derrick Jackson needed was he didn't have a true mechanism a pipeline of having to do that. And then when you look at what he did, because what he did wouldn't matter. Think about it. Derrick Jackson's whole economics is rotated around something that's completely built on a lie. There is no game for that. Eventually, that shit will blow the fuck up, no matter what you do. It doesn't matter what race of women. You're just dealing with shit that's too volatile. There is no amount of game that's going to do that. Now, people will argue Brother Polite, but Brother Polite doesn't talk in the same things that Derrick Jackson talks about. And even then, Brother Polite, it ain't that Brother Polite had game because, quite frankly, people see through his shit too. The problem is people don't care. And Brother Polite was kind of smart enough to recognize that he has enough of an audience that doesn't care about what he does. And it can kind of just let that sit aside to just rock with it and stop just treating people like they're stupid. That's the difference. Yeah, nurse nerd. And the thing about it is, yeah. So I mean, at the end of the day, when people want to say, "Oh man, if he had game," no, game wouldn't have solved his problem. Game wouldn't have solved his problem. Like this idea, like this idea that game, like dudes really be out here believing that if your game is good enough, you can basically rewrite a woman's mindset. You can keep them compliant for a time, but the reality is there none of y'all niggas got game to that extent where you all could just completely rewrite bitches. Like, no, that is not how that works. And a lot of dudes are selling, like y'all, and a lot of y'all that sell that to dudes are no different than an African warlord that tells a child soldier that if you drink this drink, bullets will bounce off you, and you send their ass up there and they get chopped the fuck up, chopped and screwed. That's the same shit psychologically. A lot of y'all niggas that sell game to dudes like that, y'all are no different than Derrick fucking Jackson. Because what you all are doing is you're telling dudes to focus on, like, this is a big reason why you even have MGTOW. Because in the 2000s, like from 2001 to 2007, you had dudes that basically literally sold game. I'm talking about white boys that stole it from black people. They sold game. I mean, I got the game, literally the book called The Game by Neil Strauss. I have it in my library. And it tells the story of that bullshit. And it's literally like MGTOW the prequel. That's literally what it is. MGTOW the prequel. And then the next saga is like what we deal with in the 2010s. Because they basically raped the damn market. Because they lied to these dudes. And when these women start to pick up on what they were doing, they start clowning their ass. And this is mainly the white boys that this happened to. And this is how you got MGTOW is what you would see it today. And that kind of met with black men dealing with the gynocracy. Yes, Derrick Jackson is being crucified like Jesus Christ right now. I don't enjoy that, but I don't give a shit either. What's up, Red Supreme? And dudes will interpret what I'm saying is you're anti-game. No, I'm not anti-game. I understand that most black men don't know how to really absorb information like that. And when you use the word game, it puts people in a certain type of mindset. Now, people may have positive intentions. I think they do because it's not like a lot of these motherfuckers are doing what the white boys did and extracting money via ebooks and all of that for every little thing they say, and it turns out it's snake oil. These dudes are doing it because they're passionate, but at the same time, I understand how black men absorb information, and most black men are not equipped to absorb information. After you use the word game, their brains dim the fuck out. I wish a scientific study could be done on that. I promise you it does. I promise you it does. I know, just like talking about fucking, when niggas talk about these conspiracy theories when it comes to celebrities. I'm not saying that Hollywood ain't on some fuck shit. I believe that. But the point is, dudes will be out here really caring about that. Like their entire identity depends on you believing that or not believing it. Yeah, my phone's about to go out. Hold on. Hold on. Shit. That's my issue. And my issue is it becomes, oh, it's game versus everything else. No. Like, or you don't understand. No, no, no. That's not what it is. It's not what it is. It's that we're not moving the needle. So when we say this is game and this is not game, game wouldn't have got Derrick Jackson out of what Derrick Jackson is in. This is why you call dudes pretty boys, because pretty boys don't necessarily, that's not what they use as game. Game was supposed to be a great equalizer, but the truth is money is too. And a lot of these dudes that talk about game here, they don't apply that in other places in their life. So I know they're just talking about females. And I'm not even on like, oh man, fuck game, the hell with game. No, I don't. I'm that's not. I don't want black men to just go pendulum swing and be like game game. Oh, that sounds like game. That sounds like, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is black men need to be very neutral. They need to understand